Hi, my name's Angel and this is Angelik Arts. This week I'm taking part in the 5under5 challenge with the theme of lemons. Now this is run by Missi over at Crafty Cove, and in just a moment I will get into some more details about this challenge. But first, let's look at my first lemon themed DIY, which is a jar of lemon drops. Well, fake ones anyway. So I took an empty jar. This one happened to have tomato chutney in it. Left this in real time so you can see how quickly it goes. Poured it in warm water, a little bit of fairy washing up liquid, and I left it to soak for a couple of hours. Came back, the water was still quite warm, so I had to add a little bit of cold so I could get my hands in there. I'm just taking my ordinary washing up sponge. I very gently just rubbed off the label. It was so easy. And I've got a little strainer in my sink in the plug so that none of that went down the sink. It all got thrown away, so none of this would go and affect the fish and the turtles in the waters. Once I was happy that it was clean enough, I gave it a little rinse out, dried it off, and I was ready to take it and the lid, which is also in that water there somewhere, over to my desk and ready to start on the DIY. So here we are now, washed and dried, and I gave the lid a coat of my favourite white chalk paint. This was actually one of the first things that I filmed for my channel. So all the videos that you've actually seen from me have all been filmed after this one. So yeah, I didn't know how to hold the thing so I didn't get paint on my hands. So I've got this necklace from my stash. It's in my stash because I used to have regular visits from my nieces when her parents lived closer. Well, they live in Scotland now, which is like a 12-hour drive from me. So they won't be coming, and they're older now anyway. But I basically just had this big box of play jewellery that they would keep them occupied while my sister and I sort of caught up on gossip and stuff. Then I've taken my white chalk marker and I've written lemon drops on this pretty chalkboard label and stuck it to the jar. And I'm taking a mother of pearl disc bead and threading onto some pink twine, wrapping it around the neck of the jar and tying a bow in it, which you'd think would be nice and simple, right? Yeah, there we go. I decided that the label was a bit plain. So I took my coloured chalk markers. I picked this nice green colour to draw some leaves. To be honest, I really wish that I'd drawn these leaves before putting it on the jar, because trying to get the leaves to look like they were curving up, I was trying to draw them on a curving surface. It just didn't work. You can see they're a bit wonky. But hey, we love wonky on this channel, honestly. Okay, so now we're drying the lid because I'm, like most of the YouTube crafters, incredibly impatient when it comes to crafting, and that leads to some mistakes, a few of which you'll see in this video. So I'm now sanding around the edges so a bit of the original gold colour from the lid shows through. I'm picking yet another label and I'm writing lemon drops on it again, and almost took it and then remembered that I should draw before putting it on the thing so that it's easier. So I took the same green to draw some leaves, and this time I added a little gold lemon. Just checked this, it was clear of dust, and stuck the label to the lid. I used the edge of my bone folder so that I didn't smudge the ink that I just put on there, and then I stuck it on the top of the thing. And I thought that I was done, and then it occurred to me that some people might not have chalk paint, so an alternative here could be a doily, and I thought that made it look really sweet and kind of old-fashioned. Okay, so now let's take some time to talk about this 5under5 challenge, thought up by Missi over at Crafty Cove. This is to create 5 decor DIYs on the theme of lemons, each costing under £5 in my case, and this is Missi's channel, where you can see she does loads of Dollar Tree DIYs, budget DIYs, to a lovely, lovely theme. And did you know she does most of them from a hotel room as she travels with her husband? This woman is incredible. And now on to my second DIY, which is a lemon lantern. I've got lost footage on this because I had so many problems with my camera at the beginning. So I'm taking 4 of these Asda photo frames. They were £1.50 each, or 2 for £2. So I bought 4, so it was £4. So this is my most expensive item on today's video. I've taken all the backs off. I've removed the back from the back. I've lost the footage of me gluing it together, but I'm pretty certain that most of you have seen this 100 times on YouTube anyway, using the same mixture of hot glue and super glue to hold the frames and now to hold the base onto the thing, although I wish that I had put the glue directly onto the frame rather than on the wood, because as you can see there, I put it in slightly the wrong place. I mean, the hold was still pretty strong in the end. I was going to reinforce these joins and put lolly sticks in, craft sticks, but the frames didn't go together well enough for that to work, so I gave up on that idea. So instead, I moved on. I took this green felt that I just happened to have in my stash. I genuinely had no idea I had it. I literally found it while I was tidying out my cupboards, ready to change to my new area. And I hot glued it, measured it out, cut it, and glued it to the bottom of the lantern. Sorry, I forgot how to talk there for a moment. Hot glued it to the base of the lantern, like so. Then decided that my lantern needed a top, so I'm taking another one, a lid from a piece of Tupperware and a curtain ring. I'm just cleaning out the Tupperware lid because it had some glitter on it. I don't know why, because it's been in the kitchen cupboard and I don't use glitter in my kitchen, but I guess that just proves how bad glitter really is, as much as I love the shiny sparklies. Okay, so now I'm separating out my napkin to a single ply before realising that my knife was really blunt and that I was going to have to cut it out with scissors. And then I did the thing that I'm sure, again, you've seen a million times. I Mod Podged the napkin to the piece of wood that was the back of the photo frame. Now, like I said, this was one of the first things that I've filmed for this channel, so this was a month ago now, and was actually my genuine first time ever using Mod Podge. Obviously, I've probably used it in more or less every video on my channel since then. Okay, now I'm drilling a hole. Just use my little hand screwdriver with a drill bit in it to drill a hole through the plastic lid. I tried melting it, stabbing it and poking it, and nothing went through that plastic until the drill. I've drilled a second hole and I'm using a pair of pliers to cut out the bit of plastic between, and then poking the curtain ring through, and then reinforcing the bottom of where the curtain ring is through, you know, the little clippy bit that holds it onto the curtain. And yep, I've just burnt my index finger there. I'm trying so hard to not react. And now let's have a real-time thaw break. Taking my scissors, I'm very carefully, because Thor is in the way, cutting the excess napkin off, and I really was afraid I was going to chop her whisker just then. But she stayed pretty clear of the blades most of the time, but yeah, she did worry me a few times. So I'll just cut off roughly, and then I'm going to take a piece of sandpaper and sand the edges so that everything was nice and smooth and looking slightly more finished, although I do wish that I had painted that board white before Mod Podging the napkin to it. I'm just sanding the edges now and trying to not poke Thor in the bottom. Little horror that she is. She's got to inspect everything on my desk all the time. She just really likes to be involved, I guess is the word. And she comes over and she's like, hello, I'm still here, pay attention to me. And then all the little bits of dust go on her beautiful fur coat, and she gave me evil looks when she washed herself after I did eventually pick her up and move her down because I had to get the hot glue gun on, and you can see she's loving on it here, and I was just really terrified that she was going to burn herself or hurt herself. Look at all that dust on her fur. I'm trying to show the camera, and her tail. Oh my goodness, cats can be annoying sometimes. Not that I don't love her, but I could have done without her attention right then. But there's no choice with cats, right? When they want your attention, they want your attention. It doesn't matter. Okay, So I think it's about time that we said goodbye to Thor. Just last little bit of loves. And then, yeah, there we go. Give her loves. Bye-bye, Thorpus. And now she's gone. Right, here we go. So I've put my hot glue on, got rid of the cat. And I didn't learn from my mistakes. Well, I half learned from my mistakes. I put the glue on the frame, but I still put the hot glue on the board and not on the frame of the lantern. But you can see there how it really would have looked nicer, cleaner, brighter if I'd put a layer of white underneath. So I originally thought I was just going to put the citronella candle in. It is a real candle, and I wasn't ever intending to burn it, and I wouldn't recommend that anybody burn a candle in something like this with a cover on, and the amount of glue that has been used, and it's not sensible. But I thought I was just going to have it in there so that it would smell nice. But actually, I ended up replacing it with a little LED flickering candle that I found. So I'm just using a chenille stem and some fake fern greenery things, twisting that off, snipping the end with my wire snips, and then I'm just decorating it. I'm trying out these leaves that I decided I didn't like, deciding where I want to put that. I've taken these mini lemons that I ordered off of Amazon, and I really wouldn't recommend. They don't look anything like lemons. I thought they looked a bit like kumquats though. So, you know, if I ever need to do something with the kumquat theme, I've got them covered. So I'm just gluing on the handle, put a bit of hot glue on the fake lemons and gluing it to the top. I'm taking some of the, yeah, here's where I tried to glue two of the lemons together. And the super glue was just not, it didn't want to work. So I just glued them to the felt. And I threw in some of these little, they're actually mini foam eggs from Easter time that I've painted to make them look a little bit more like lemons. And then we had a bit of filming cut out. So here's the photo. And let me talk a little bit about our next host, who is Jackie from Blessed Beyond Measure. Now, Jackie is just the sweetest lady. I've not spoken to her very much one-to-one, but in the groups that I'm in, she is just lovely. And she does all these beautiful high-end farmhouse, Dollar Tree, budget-friendly DIYs. And on to DIY 3, which is the mini lemon tree. This one also suffered from some lost footage. So there's those mini eggs that I was talking about. I put them on cocktail sticks. I painted them yellow. Then I take a Sharpie, some more of the same green felt that I used in the lantern, and I'm drawing around the base of my mini terracotta pot because I still don't have any moss, so I'm going to be using that to cover up the polystyrene. This time I'm using my heat gun to melt the glue off the back of the sticker, just so that you've got options for sticker removal. And then I painted that, didn't catch it on camera. Basically what I did is I mixed my yellow poster paint with some bicarbonate of soda, which is the same as baking soda over in the States. Giving a second coat on my little eggs so that they look even more lemon-like. And I kind of liked the way it dripped at the end, so it started to look like the little, I was going to say nubbins, I don't know what they're called, like the little bobbles at the end of lemons. Hopefully you know what I mean. But anyway, so I'm just sanding around the rim of the terracotta pot where I didn't paint it. This is, yeah, we've got random jump and then it goes back. I don't know what happened there with the filming. So this is the second pot. So I sort of tried to start filming at the same point. I thought the other one had ended. But anyway, so I've sanded the top rim. I'm now covering it with ribbon, you know, glue and wrap all the way around. So I've got 2 layers. Then I believe I went over it a third time to try and hide that seam a little bit between the 2 layers. Cut the end off and glued the end down. Yeah, see, I think, yeah, I definitely wrapped it round again there. This is actually a rubber nail art tool that I picked up in a set from Poundland ages ago. I've never used it for nail art, but it works brilliantly for doing the like little tiny details. Okay, so then hot glue, you've all seen this a million times before as well. Hot glue in the bottom of the pot, taking some polystyrene, styrofoam, stuffing it full, and I folded the felt into quarters to find the centre point, cut a circle, then lost more footage. I've taken a cinnamon stick and poked a fake eucalyptus pick into the cinnamon stick, so the cinnamon stick is now the trunk of my lemon tree. And then I'm just gluing some of those little mini eggs, which are now mini lemons, onto the leaves, directly onto the leaves, because I could not find a way to make them stay on little stalks. It was all too small. I was just testing for the size of my bow, and then I'm wrapping the ribbon around the stem, the trunk of the tree, and then I stuck a little bow on the front, and again lost that. So let's talk about Emily from Farm Charm Chic. That's actually quite a difficult channel name to say, and yeah, as her channel name suggests, she makes lots of charming farm chic DIYs. And without further ado, let's go on to the only DIY that I didn't lose any footage for, a Scrabble tile display. This one was really simple. I got my yellow scraps drawer out again, took several sheets of different shades. Well, actually, they're kind of all the same shade of yellow, but different finishes of yellow. I happily picked my 5. I took what I consider to be a rugby ball, but I assume you guys are going to think is a football. Joy, the transatlantic changes, eh? And I cut out 5 shapes. I took the letters for lemon, minus the M because I didn't have one, and I just drew that on with my Sharpie. Picked a Scrabble tile display, Scrabble rack. What are these things called? Comment below if you know what these things are actually called. I'm just playing with my paper lemons and the wording, and then I took these leaves, and I thought it needed a leaf, but this leaf was wrong, and it didn't fit there, so I was like, no, but I still wasn't happy with it. Anyway, start gluing everything down, and I put far too much glue on the bottom of these letters. I've only worked with them laying down before, I've never used them standing up, so I made a mistake on how much glue I used, but it's fine. It's just a little bit of extra sparkle, right? And sparkle that's not going to break off and go into the environment, so even better. Yeah, so I was still wasn't happy. I've just taken a little brush and get rid of the dust, because this has been in my games cupboard for about 5 years. Going over the L because it seemed a bit faded, over the M. I might have to then go back and go over the E, O, and N because they are now not as bold as the L and M. And I found this Christmas pic that had, how adorable is that little robin on it? But anyway, so I'm now cut off the leaves from that, which were, I think, more like lemon leaves than the eucalyptus in my lemon tree. And I stuck 2 on the right hand end and 1 behind the lemon on the left hand end. And that was that for that one. Like the only one that I got in one take and didn't lose footage for, because I was able to do it all in one take. Now on to my final DIY. This one was just a disaster. Minor fail, first mistake, lost footage. Here I'm trying to use some tea-stained resin. Yeah, this is my mistake here. I got impatient and it messed up, and then it all ended up drying clear. Anyway, I tipped out most of the liquid because I remembered resin doesn't really like water. But I was sort of trying to hope. So now I thought, I know, I'll mix it up. And when I use to paint on slick surfaces, I usually do a mixture of paint and glue because it gives it kind of a sheer finish. And I've used coffee grounds for the colours. You may have seen my how not to make brown paint video on this channel. If not, the link is down below. It's only a short one, and it was mostly me taking the mickey out of myself because I just did badly. But look, see, this is after the resin. It's just dried clear. So now I'm painting my coffee glue mixture to the inside of my little wine goblet. And I thought that was nice. It was, I mean, it would hopefully dry sheer, but not as much as I'd hoped. The camera cut out, and you don't get to see me decorating it. So here it is after decoration. I've tied some ribbons around the stem and the lip of the glass. I put on a little a bow, some faux greenery. I stuck a spoon across the top. I tried to put some resin ice cubes in the inside, and it just all went wrong. So, yeah, I was just... And here it is after about a week. So I'd kind of finally got that see-through colour that I'd wanted, but I'd just gone off. So because of how bad that was, I thought I had another DIY that I had attempted to film for this video, this lemon cup decor, but this was an entire filming fail. So I started off by taking this Poundland cupcake. It's a tree ornament. I was trying to sand off the glitter before deciding that no, we don't want that much glitter in the environment, and then it got cut off. Basically, I've painted it, Mod Podged the middle bit and covered it with lemon coloured flower soft, stuck a toothpick down through that hole in the centre, and one of the little eggs that we're using as mini lemons stuck on the top. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm sorry for how bad the quality was. I guess I'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye.